Curt, Sister Helen Prejean has been here a few times in the last few years. I think that many of our viewers would know who that is. What is your relationship with her?
Well, she actually is, in a sense, the founder of our organization, because her organization, which is the Moratorium Campaign, based in New Orleans, is the umbrella for Witness to Innocence. In other words, they serve as a fiscal sponsor for us as we're seeking our own independent status. So we work very closely with them, and they actually started Witness to Innocence, and that was under her leadership.
So do you have daily contact with her, or monthly, or on what level do you work with her?
I don't speak with her that frequently. She's traveling constantly, and still is a very much sought-after speaker. Is an amazing speaker, and still spends half of the year at least, traveling around the country, talking about the death penalty. And her last book, The Death of Innocence, is specifically on the issue of innocence. So I'm not in constant contact with her, certainly, but I do find her to be accessible, though. And she's great to work with.
Well, I happened to be online earlier today, and I uncovered a blog on her website that talked about you being the unsung hero of the abolition movement. Can you explain why somebody would say that?
Well, I have to be honest and say that from what Sister Helen's remarks to me, that she said that, I believe?
Yes.
Well, I'll just be honest and say that one of the exonerated guys that we work with, I think, prompted her to put that on her blog, but that was very kind of him to do so. But yeah, I've known her for many years, and I started out as a volunteer with the National Coalition to Abolish the Death Penalty when she was on the board, and she was also, during the time I was a volunteer there, as chair of the board of directors. So I have known her for a long time, and I actually started out in this movement from a faith-based kind of opposition and perspective, and worked in religious organizing against the death penalty. So I had that connection with her as well.
Okay. I bet there's even more to the story about why you're the unsung hero of the abolition movement, but there's nobody else with us to share the rest of that message.
That might be a good thing.
What does your day-to-day life look like? I mean, you serve the country with a staff of 2 or 3 total employees. I mean, more than that, more individuals, but 2 to 3 total full-time employees. What do you do day to day?
Mostly I try to stay sane. I try to keep my sanity amidst the challenge of working on this issue. But on a serious note, overseeing the organization and all of its facets, from the program, which consists largely of our Speakers Bureau, working with state organizations like NADP and other groups across the country to plan campaigns and tours. We do several tours each year of states where we send at least 1 or more exonerees around the state to do speaking events. And then there are the more, I guess, for lack of a better word, mundane and necessary aspects of the job in terms of finances and fundraising, which obviously, like any organization, you can't continue without that. Fortunately, we have someone who's excellent at what he does, and has been very successful in keeping us going financially. But just administrative, fundraising, signing paychecks, signing other checks, and everything else that has to be done, I guess.
Well, we only have a couple minutes left in our interview here. And you mentioned that you came originally to the death penalty issue from a faith-based perspective. Nebraska is a state where more than 95% of people say that they believe in some higher power or have some kind of religious faith. Would you address directly people of faith and why it would weigh on their heart to be opposed to the death penalty?
Well, if you just look at every major religious organization or denomination in this country, they all have statements against the death penalty. They all believe that it is not within the government's right to take human life, that belongs to something other than the government. And yet, many people of faith support the death penalty, and they will quote scripture and they'll argue from here until eternity about an eye for an eye, which has been completely distorted in terms of what that was supposed to have meant when it was written. People of faith, I think, have an obligation to stand for human life. I think that there's nothing more precious than human life, and that it doesn't matter what type of mistakes one has made in their life. They're still human, and they still deserve to live. The interesting thing about the faith-based perspective is that we found it's very difficult to shift people's view on that basis. And there's now research showing that, and again, this comes back to the area that I work in on the innocence issue, that religious arguments, as powerful as they may be, tend not to be effective in changing public opinion. People are very steadfast in their beliefs there. However, I don't think most rational people would say it's okay to execute an innocent person. That argument has been proven through research now that we have that it is the leading argument to change people's hearts and minds on this.
Well, thanks a lot for your time, Curt. My name is Josh Cramer. I've been your host for today's Watchful Citizen episode. We had with us Curt Rosenberg, who's the director of Witness to Innocence from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Take care, and if you want more information about the death penalty, go to www.nadp.net.